Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have what all of you have been waiting for. It is game 1 of the best of 5 between Nilla and Gonzo in the final of the Season 2 playoffs of the Steel Division League. In this one they are playing on Shchedrin, and on our left in the red team we have Nilla using the 84th Guards Rifles and the flatline deployment type. And on our right we have Gonzo on the Axis team in the blue, playing with the first Lovas and the flatline deployment type. So the map bans for the series are as follows. Gonzo banned Lenina and Krupa, and Nilla banned Siano and Zabudzin. Because it's a best of 5, they have one less map ban each. As for division bans, now Nilla banned Gonzo from playing the 78th Sturm, the Fallschirmpanzerhelm Göring, the Pansari, and the 25th Panzergrenadier. So that's just taking out the 78th Sturm because of their good infantry capabilities, the Fallschirmpanzerhelm Göring for more or less the same thing, plus the support units they can bring, Pansari because it's something I believe that Gonzo is pretty good with, and the 25th Panzergrenadier because they have strong recon units, very fast playstyle in the early game, backed up by Stugs and decent infantry. Gonzo banned Nilla from playing the 3rd Canadian Infantry, the 3rd Guards Tank Corps, the 3rd Guards Mechanized, and the 1st Polish Infantry. So all of the 3rd being banned. I think it's nearly all of the 3rd, other than the 3rd US. 3rd Canadians, we've seen them be very strong in the 3rd place playoff. Showing how much infantry availability they can bring with some really strong armored support. And in a Vanguard playstyle, that can be really tough to beat. The 3rd Guards Tank Corps, always deemed to be a very strong division just because it does have IS-2s to back it up. But more than that, it comes down to the fact that they have Shermans and decent infantry and decent support weapons. Very well-rounded Soviet division. The 3rd Guards Mechanized, very aggressive division, and so is the 1st Polish Infantry, and I think Gonzo's trying to take away as many options from Nilla as he can, because Nilla is a very aggressive player. Both of these players, extremely aggressive, both of them using the flatline deployment type this time around. So it's all going to come down basically to who can trade better, which is just a matter of player skill, I guess. So perfect for a final of the Steel Division League. It's going to be interesting to watch, that's for sure. Now let's focus on the divisions we have at hand. The 84th Guards Rifles does have a similar sort of setup to the 3rd Guards Tank Corps, but has a lot less armor to work with. So it does have IS-2s, of course, but it doesn't have the Shermans that the 3rd Guards Tank Corps have, and therefore lacks that sort of mid-range aggression tool that it would usually have. It does have some T-34s, but they aren't deemed to be as effective as, say, a Sherman with a 50 cal and a 30 cal, for example. On the side of the 1st Lovas, it's a very strong Vanguard division, in my opinion. I'm surprised to see Gonzo using it flatline, because it does fall off very hard due to its use of Turans. And I think in the early game, with its strong infantry, having that Turan support and pushing as hard as you can is certainly something that works very well. But maybe Gonzo's just using the flatline like we've seen him in the past, because it allows him to have some longevity against other Vanguard deployment types. In this case, that's not going to happen because both players are playing flatline, but maybe that's just the theory that Gonzo has, is that the flatline gives a little bit more longevity just to finish off a game, while still having a lot of the potency in the early game. Anyway, let's have a look at some of these units. So for Gonzo on the top side, he's got 2 Nehes Puska. These are the 2 AT rifle squads. There's going to be the 2 40 mils. I love the 40 mils of the Hungarians, I really do. They have the capability to take out light armor, whilst also providing HE fire support onto enemy support weapons and enemy AT guns. That's really nice. 2 75mm infantry guns from Gonzo there. It's going to be the 2 Hussarok, 1 Hussar Goloshoroshok. There's going to be the 2nd Hussar Goloshoroshok there as well. And then we see the Turan 2 and a Jagdpanzer 38. The Jagdpanzer 38, really strong unit in the early game, just because of its potent firepower and the strong armor there. Further down, we'd see the Nehes Puska, Langsoroshok. It's going to be 2 75mm, 3 Hussarok, and the 2 Turan 1s. And on the bottom side, we see 3 Hazarok, Akastist, and the Nehespuska pushing into the town. So it looks like Nilla maybe has way more heading into the town at the moment. Gonzo may be focusing more on the center and top side of the map. Let's have a look at some of the units coming in from Nilla. He's got 4 units of Ognemachiki. Those are the 2-man flamers. PTRS squad, that's the AT rifle squad. Going to be the commander for the bottom side and the flamer there. Avto Konroti, 2 Strafniki moving in on the bottom side, and 3 Gvardia to the top side of the town. To the center, it's going to be 2 infantry guns, the OB-25s, 2 snipers, and an Avto. And on the very top side here, we see the PTRS unloading early. Oh, Nehespuska also looking for some shots of its own. All of this infantry is going to be forced to unload, and the snipers clean up the PTRS very quickly. But that's going to be 2 snipers, multiple units of flamers, 4 units, PTRS, OB-25, 45mm, 3 Gvardia DP, and the Avto Konroti. Now, this is going to be an interesting engagement because Gonzo's brought in the 2 infantry guns here, the 75mm. One of them is going to go down very quickly under the sniper fire and the OB fire. The 40mm can clear up the 45mm AT gun very quickly, but I would be more focused on the OB personally. Oh, nice bombing strike coming in there from the PE3 BIS. Going to be landing straight on top of the 75mm infantry gun. Doesn't do too much to the Hazogoro Soroshok though, and those Hazogoro Soroshok, they do have the 3 machine guns that can really rip open squads at a distance. Do lose line of sight onto those flamer squads though. On the bottom side, it looks like potentially some transports going down here. Yeah, that's a motorcycle. It looks like Gonzo maybe lost a unit driving in there. But the Hazarok, really good mid-range units. Going to do plenty of damage to Strafniki. Strafniki with the 20-man squads though, certainly going to fight back well. Langsoroshok getting on top of the sniper there is really nice. Gives time for the Hazarok to move up without being under fire. We've got the Jagdpanzer Turan 2 and the 40mm Staff firing away. Going to try and take care of that sniper in the building. Do manage to take out both of them, including the one in the open. Ognemachiki now being fired at by the Turan in the center. Has come up to support this Hazarok push. Currently, Nilla 16-8. Gonzo in trouble, that's for sure. Certainly needs to secure some ground because he's lost 3 flags in this town currently, and on the top side as well. The PE3 again coming in for a bombing strike. That's going straight for these 40mm guns. Is it going to kill all of them? Oh, the second one getting away with that. But nice job by the Hazogoro Soroshok to clean up those flamers with the Turan 1 there. The 3 Hazarok pushing through onto the OB. A nice kill from the Focke-Wulf 190. Cleans up one of the PE3 bisses. Gets rid of that for the future. 13-11. Nilla has lost his strong lead. Still in the lead though. Ticking down Gonzo's tickets. Now these Gvardia DP, they push through to try and kill off the Hazarok. That might leave them vulnerable to a lot of fire coming in from the Turantu, the Hazogoro Soroshok, the 40mm, also the Focke-Wulf coming in for the strafing run. These Gvardia DP took a lot of damage pushing that engagement, and now a Ju-87 D5 coming in from Gonzo on the top side. Further on the bottom, we see the Hazarok being pushed back. One of them has already been taken out. The others are on the run. I think Nilla knows that Gonzo doesn't really have too much down here, and this is what you love to see in Steel Division. Somebody who's really, really aggressive, knows when to take advantage of their opponent when they don't have too many units. And when you have like divisions that really favor the early game, this is exactly how you want to play. Just get really up in their face, make sure they have no time to react, get the surrenders best you can. The Hazarok here not surrendering just yet because of the Arkaztist. But that's not going to be too long as the Arkastists go down. That's going to be the surrender. Hazarok there also in trouble. These Gvardia have managed to get on top of the Langsoroshok. So the Langsoroshok cannot use their napalm. And so just the Hazarok from a distance going to be required to deal with those. But in the center, things are not going too well for Nilla. The OB has been overrun by the Hazarok. These Hazarok are getting the better of the Avtos, especially once the Langsoroshok get involved. On the top side, the Hazarok have managed to get right up into the face of the Gvardia as well. Hazogoro Soroshok at close range aren't going to be particularly effective compared to a Gvardia DP, but we'll see. Focke-Wulf coming in for the strafing run onto the Avto. Gonzo currently pushing this back to 13-11 briefly as he took control of this flag, but with the T-34E and the 37mm AA coming in, they are going to push back that front line. Hazarok here, continuing the engagement versus the Gvardia DP on the bottom. Turan coming in to support this, and also just take back this flag in the open so that Gonzo can level out the scoreboard. Hazarok new squad coming into the top side. The Hazzardok are actually quite expensive for Gonzo in the early game, I believe. 30 points a pop. I guess it's about the same as a Panzergren squad, and they're way better at mid-range, so maybe that's not so bad. But either way, Hazzardok there going to clean up the PTRS squad. These Hazzardok Shoulder Shock are going to get the better of the Avto Komroti back here. That will remove the veteran seat from the Gvardia DP, allowing these Hazzardok to do better. And we do see the B3 come in with the bombing strike there. I'm not entirely sure what that went for. Maybe it was... Oh, it looked like it bombed this Hazzardok up on the ridge. That's fair enough. Nice use by the by Gonzo to strafe with the Fogwolf right now. I think that's saving a few units here and there. These Hazzardok holding strong there with the Langsodashok for now. 14 to 10 in favour of Gonzo. Full control over this town more or less from Nilla. He should be able to break down this Hazzardok and get the last flag here, but won't necessarily be able to push across the open against a Turan unless he gets a tank in of his own, like a T-34 or an AT gun. But starting to rely on the T-34Es on the top side, there is of course the Jagdpanzer 38T here, which is going to make short work of these T-34s. Very nicely done. Does have plenty of AP shells to continue that engagement. These Hazzardok forced to fall back for the time being, just because that bombing strike has still got them stressed out. Turan 1 at close range though, could do a lot of damage. Does have 2 machine guns and HE shells, so against like Avto squads that can't really do anything with a PTRS, for example, they can absolutely rip them to shreds as long as they don't allow the Avto to get it within the 100-meter range. Strafniki, and they're going to want to try and get up here as soon as possible to support the Avtos, otherwise the Avtos are going to get picked off by the Hazzardok. We do see the double Ju-87 coming in. They're looking for the bombing strikes onto those Avtos just to try and pin them down potentially, or kill them off. Either will do. And these Hazzardok slowly but surely getting killed off. 3 men still holding. Looks like Gonzo's going to be bringing in some Hazzardok Soroshok to try and push back eventually towards this town on the bottom side. Currently 12 to 12. Still all to play for in this first game. Hazzardok here moving straight towards these Avtos. I think the Hazzardok with the numbers should break down the Avto squad relatively easily, as long as they stop moving, that is. Otherwise the Avto is going to do a lot of damage. Oh, and the Strafniki getting involved. That, I feel, was a big mistake there from Gonzo. Kind of threw away the Hazzardok unit when he could have very easily traded for the Avto earlier. 2 infantry guns on top of this ridge now, pinning down the Strafniki. Hazzardok pushing for that. Hazzardok Soroshok going to be just trying to come straight across. Do need to be careful of the PTRD from the Strafniki. The Strafniki do jump out of that building, take some serious damage from those 75mm guns. Turan also getting involved here, does have really high rate of fire with the HE shell, so going to melt those Strafs. The Ju-87D5 also coming in with the bombing strike onto the Strafniki here. Hazzardok Soroshok not too worried about taking a ranged engagement because of the 3 machine guns they have. But those Strafniki, they moved out of the building a little too early there, I feel, and took the full damage to the face. Leaves them with 3 men. Hazzardok Soroshok should clean those up. T-34Es though, taking 3 shots, so Gonzo is going to be moving in with the Jagdpanzer 38T. We do see that the Straf did get the better of one of the Hazzardok squads. There's only one Hazzardok here that's going to stop this Straf from capturing the flag. This one further back, I don't think we'll be able to unless it moves forwards itself. And that Turan very vulnerable to the PTRD that the Strafniki have. P3 Bis coming in for the bombing strike onto the Hazzardok Soroshok. It looks like these Strafniki might be pinned down in time to stop them from finding a surrender there. This Ju-87 going for the 6-man Strafniki, and once again we're seeing Ju-87 D5s do very, very well. Now, in a 3v3-4v4 that I usually play, Ju-87s don't do well because they're slow, and there's lots of players that could bring in a fighter or some AA to stop those from being effective. But in 1v1 you see a lot less fighters and you see a lot less AA. And so these Ju-87s are doing absolute work in these games that we've seen throughout the tournament. This 37 brought in from Nilla. These are more covering the top side at the moment, so I kind of expect Nilla hopefully to push back on this top side, but his infantry availability seems to have fallen off massively right now. No infantry reinforcement coming in, probably just because of this investment into the IS-2 Komroti, but he's going to need that to take care of the Jagdpanzers, and that's why the Jagdpanzer is such a nice investment, because you really do need an expensive tank to take them out. Something like a Panther if you're playing Axis versus Axis, or in terms of allied versus allied. Only like a T-34-85 would take out a Jagdpanzer. In this case, Nilla's forced to bring in the IS-2. So that's interesting to see. Anyway, Turan here does go down to the PTRD as expected. Hasorok and Hasogorosoroshok are going to have to fight these Strafniki at range in order to take control of that flag. We do see the Focke-Wulf 189 coming in. This does have, I believe, 220mm off map. I think that's a guess, but something like that. It's going to do a reasonable amount of damage. He's going to drop that onto the bottom side of the town here to clean out the Gavaria and the Avtos. But most of Nilla's infantry is already gone. We have just moved into phase B, so more Gavaria now on the way. I think Nilla, yeah, pretty much run out of infantry in phase A, whilst Gonzo still had some on the field and still some up his sleeve. So I think that's why Gonzo looks in a much better position right now, moving into phase B, because he's already got the infantry support in position to make ground. Jagdpanzer in a nice position there, has cleaned up both of the T-34s that were covering the ridge, or at least forced one of them up onto the hill. The Hasorok are going to be the ones to have to deal with that T-34E, but I'm not sure Nilla will allow that to happen. T-34E can just drive straight onto the Hasogorosoroshok, and Gonzo's going to realise that and pull back as soon as he can. Off-map's going to come in, kill the leader almost immediately on this bottom side. Does unseat the Gavaria as well. And whilst that off-map wasn't necessarily killing too much, it does give Gonzo the security he needs to push into the bottom side of this town. But then again, Nilla has had time now to reinforce, and he still has that 2-star veterancy on all of his units due to the commander being back here and one of the Avto Komrati still being alive. So this infantry engagement is going to continue, and while Hasorok though, oh damn, they're doing a lot of damage. Gavari DP, not Strauki DP, that's for sure. Strauki DP, they would probably do a reasonable amount of damage, but Hasorok, goddamn, they're so good. 14 rifles there, doing so much damage. We've got the Arkaz Tist providing that extra veterancy. Commander back here as well. Oh, we're seeing the Focke-Wulfs come in. 2 Ju-87s on the top side. This Ju-87 as well. Those infantry guns managed to get on top of the 75mm AA. That's really not good. I think it's an 85mm AA, sorry. But either way, yeah, losing that is really, really bad. And wow, Nilla's going to surrender. That Ju-87 was just about to land on those tanks on the top side. That would have been a perfect cluster strike. It's a shame that the game ended. Wow, that was just a sudden burst of fire coming out of Gonzo, and he just made Nilla realise that he probably couldn't hold on to much ground for much longer in that position. I am surprised that Nilla didn't try and fight that out. Maybe it's because Nilla's flatline divisions are built with a lot less infantry, because the 84th, it does have quite a few infantry slots as far as I'm aware, and that infantry availability, I think, is the only thing that would really provide big issues throughout that game for Nilla, because he has the better armor overall, and he had enough AA on the field, as long as he doesn't make the mistakes that he did with that 85, to shut down Gonzo's airplay. And Gonzo, with the first Lovas don't actually have that high availability of Ju-87s. So that's interesting that he surrendered so quickly, but he was certainly in a bad position, and you can see that by the kills and losses. 1,155 kills to 540 losses. Gonzo got a lot of value out of his units, especially in the middle and top side of the map early on. On the bottom side, Gonzo didn't really lose too much because he didn't have that much there to begin with, and then he made a constructed push to try and take it back, which worked out really well. And Nilla's like Strafniki, which cost 40 points apiece, really weren't doing too much. In this case, 2 Hasorok going down to Strafniki. Okay, the first thing that I see completely disproves what I just said, but I think if you consider the amount of Strafniki that he had, trading 1-for-1 with Strafniki is not a good trade. Like, this is a 30-point Hasorok squad for a 40-point Strafniki, so they're still not paying themselves off, and I think that was just the issue that Nilla was having throughout. And then Hespuska going down there to the snipers and the Oktemachiki. Just a few AT rifle squads early on. I think these are like 5 points apiece, maybe. Really not high value at all. Whereas if we go to losses, we can see that the Hasorok, goddamn, those got a lot of value. Hasogorosoroshok took out 3 of the Flamers early on. That 75 mil got the 85 mil kill there and the sniper. The Jagdpanzer, really, really difficult for the T-34Es to deal with. Forced Nilla to bring in an IS-2, which is really, really expensive. That was either the reason that Nilla wasn't bringing in more infantry, or it was because the infantry that Nilla had already run out. Either way, really bad situation. Ju-87's doing a great job just picking off Gavardia where they can. And I don't think this is the last we're going to be seeing of the Ju-87s in Steel Division 2 1v1s for a long time. But yeah, that's it. That's game 1 of a best of 5 between Gonzo and Nilla in the final of the Steel Division 2 League Season 2 playoffs. As always, make sure to go check out the description for information on Season 3 of the Steel Division League. If you want to get involved, there are links down there to get all the information that you need. So congratulations to Gonzo, goes 1 up, but still plenty of games left. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.